So the non-farm payroll report is out today, and another month goes by, another disappointment. The consensus amongst the wizards of smart who are polled in order to come up with some sort of aggregate number, which is considered to be the expectation that we all share. I don't know how you get to be picked to be in that club, but it's some group of economists, and I think they use the median, not the average. Expectation was somewhere in the 600 and something thousand job range. It ended up being in the fives, in the 500 range. I can't remember the exact specifics. Might have been 679 was the expectation, and it was 5 something. I believe the total miss was about 116,000 below, and so not as many people are getting back to work as I guess the financial establishment would like to believe. And this is no shocker as to why. The story has not changed since last month or the month before, and that is that if people can make more money to stay home than they can working, they're not going to work. It's that simple. Or actually, it's, as I've said in the past, it's more complicated than that. It's even more pernicious, because it's not just as if, okay, well, if I can make $15 an hour sitting home, if I'm offered $16 an hour to go work, well, that's more money, I'll go work. No, at that point, you're only getting paid essentially to work for $1 an hour, because you're only making $1 more. You have to think of it in terms of opportunity cost. So in order to go work, even if you're getting, that $15 an hour, $16 an hour, or $14 an hour, depending on where you are in the country on average in unemployment benefits, you're giving up, 40 hours a week in leisure time that you could have spent doing other things. So you need to make substantially more than you could make on unemployment in order to justify giving up all of that time. And until that comes to an end, or until those dollars stop buying you as much, until either the unemployment benefits are cut unilaterally by the government taking them away, or they're cut through inflation, there's going to be a persistent shortage of people who are willing to work. And frankly, it's anybody's guess which one of those two conclusions we're going to end up with, because the current state of affairs, this state in which people don't want to work, can't last forever, because if everybody decides they don't want to work, well, then nothing gets done, and nobody is able to consume anything. If no work is getting done, then we just are going to have to do with less. And I know that that's not what the American people want. Americans are a nation of consumers, and they want to keep consuming and consuming as much as possible, and they'd like to consume as much as they can while doing the least amount of work. And so as we produce less and less, inflation is going to continue to rise at a faster and faster rate. And so these unemployment benefits, which might seem cushy at this moment in time, are going to buy you less and less. And so therefore, these unemployment benefits are going to move in the direction of pre-pandemic rates until it motivates enough people to get back into the workforce. But of course, that in and of itself will be predicated on wage rates rising enough to compensate for inflation. But ultimately, this is going to come to pass. This current labor shortage is going to come to an end. If we get to the point to where these unemployment benefits buy you less and less, well, then it won't matter to people. It won't be an incentive not to work. Money is only worth what you can pay for it. The value of something is what somebody else is willing to pay for it. Now, with that said, a few states in particular are rolling back the expanded unemployment benefits, which is a good thing. So maybe in those states, the labor market is going to start correcting and more people will start going back to work, in which case the labor shortage might increasingly become limited more and more to blue states. But we're still going to have to wait and see as far as that's concerned. Now, the reaction to this news on Wall Street was quite interesting, I think, and it was appropriate. I think that Wall Street is reacting accurately to this news, and that is that to to paraphrase a Zero Hedge headline, dollar dumps and stocks spike. That's pretty much what you need to understand. The markets seem to understand that when we have bad economic news, when you have a miss in the non-farm payroll report and the jobs report, the Fed is going to do more of the same, and that is easy money, low interest rates, more QE. And what's that good for? Well, it's good for the stock market. It's good for asset prices. It's good for the housing market. But it's very bad for the dollar because all the Fed is doing is inflating prices. And so that's what you see. So you see the value of the dollar going down, and you see the prices of assets like stocks and bonds going up. Because the Fed is a one-trick pony. That's all they know how to do. And we're going to get more of the same. And if the Fed keeps doing more of what is causing this inflation, what is causing the labor market shortage, things are only going to get worse. They're not going to change magically. I mean, heck, I guess the one bright point you could look at today is that the unemployment rate fell more than was expected. The unemployment rate fell from 6.1% to 5.8%. It was only expected to fall to 5.9%. Well, why did it fall more than expected? It's obviously not because more people were hired than expected. Less people were hired than expected. What ended up happening was more people than expected left the labor market, which is not a good sign. People are giving up and leaving, either because unemployment benefits are so great that they feel no need to work anytime soon, or that they've just given up and said, you know what, I can't find a decent job. There's nothing I can do. I'm just going to sit at home all day. I'm out of the labor force. If the economy was supposedly starting back up and you had all this pent-up demand, well, you would know people would be rushing out to work because they say, oh, look at all this demand out here. Look at all this stuff that people want done. I'm gonna go put up wallpaper and do crown molding and I'm gonna work in a factory producing widgets because everybody loves widgets. That's not happening. The economy is not waking up. Production is not waking up. Only consumption is. People just want to buy things and they don't want to do anything to earn them. As I've said many times before, we're a nation of consumers, not a nation of producers. We have forgotten Say's law, and we're just beginning to feel the pain that is associated with that error. This is not a fun news story. This is not a fun jobs report because it's just kind of right in line with what I would have expected, which is more of the same. Things are not getting any better. We're in a period of steady decline in production in this country, in sort of the hollowing out, not just of our manufacturing, we're hollowing out all economic activity in general. People are just not doing things. And as a result, our money is going to keep losing more and more of its value. As someone who has, kind of been responsible and been, saving a lot of money for my entire life, hoping, hey, maybe one day I'll be able to, use this money I've saved up as a down payment to purchase a home, And if we were living in 2010, 2012, 2013, 14, I'd have plenty of money. I could go out right now, buy myself a house. I've good enough money for a down payment, and I'd be set. But I can't right now, obviously, because housing prices are absurd, and, my money's not worth a whole lot. It's worth less every day. And when people see that, what do? They go out and buy stuff, because they know, gee, the price of stuff is going up all the time, so I better buy it now, or else I might not be able to afford it later. That's what we're witnessing now. People are looking to dump their cash as soon as possible in order to get stuff, because you can't find it anywhere. Everything is sold out. And it's not like all of a sudden goods have suddenly become scarce that were never scarce before. Goods are always scarce. It's just that normally prices are high enough to deter enough people from purchasing goods that, stores always have these goods in stock. Same thing with car dealerships. car prices tend to be high enough to where dealers are able to keep inventory in stock so that anyone who likes to go down there and really wants to pay the price can get whatever they want. But when prices are relatively too low because people have, so much money to spend, well then things start going out of stock. Then you start ending up with shortages of goods. Then all of a sudden, you go down and you say, I want to buy some jet skis for the family. And you find out there's a, 2-3 year wait for jet skis. You want to go out and buy a boat. You can't find a boat because everybody else has said, you know what, I've got all this money laying around that's just losing value, and I really want a boat. I better buy that boat right now. Even if I'm not going to use it, even if I don't live near the water, even if I don't have anywhere to put it, I'll put the boat in storage. That's the kind of economy that we have right now. It's not healthy. It's not sustainable in the medium term. It's only going to continue like this for for a relatively short period of time. I mean, who knows what this country looks like by the time of the midterm elections in 2022. Goods are flying off of store shelves and the dollars are piling up. And I've just about completely lost faith in the bond market as far as its ability to rein in spending and money printing by pushing up bond yields and thus raising interest rates in order to bring, real interest rates into positive territory, i.e. pushing interest rates above the rate of inflation. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. As of right now, it seems like everybody is perfectly content with negative real interest rates, which is quite concerning, because if that's the case, then I don't know what the off-ramp is. How does this all end? I mean, if we can't have rising nominal interest rates, if the bond market doesn't bring an end to this binge, then, I mean, we really are going to go the way of Venezuela completely. There's going to be nothing stopping us. I mean, as I've said over the past few months, the bond market is the last line of defense. They need to step up, and, the bond vigilantes need to bring this situation under control. And I don't know what needs to happen in order for them to do that. I guess things have to get worse. I mean, how much longer does this have to go on? I think everybody sees what's going on here. And yes, we know that the government doesn't report inflation honestly. But the bond traders need to know that if they care about, getting real positive yields. So I guess that's about all I have to say on this. Enough people are not going back to work. Production is not keeping pace with consumption. That is the formula for rising prices. Demand is increasing relative to supply. And this simply can't be unwound in the future. If the government tried to unwind this policy, you would lead to severe asset price deflation, which they don't want to happen. And so the only solution, or the only answer then, is that they will continue to inflate the economy. They will screw over the consumer in order to save the investor. So with that said, I guess I'll end it there.